That can't be. A normal person's affection level for another person can't go below. Unless Sincere confronts Victoria directly and exposes her true identity, the task will fail automatically, said one of the comments. I was utterly bewildered. Could it be that Victoria saw me as just a boss to defeat? Restraining my emotions, I continued reading the comments. Another comment said, "No wonder Sincere has no idea that Victoria is planning to marry someone else in another world. He thinks it's his fault she dies each time. But Victoria's latest conquest was so smooth that her bonus is only 1/10 of what it usually is. She'll probably burn through it soon and start her next conquest quickly." The screen was filled with question marks. Just as I was about to explain, the comments suddenly disappeared. The transparent text that had accompanied me for days vanished like smoke. What remained was the unresolved issue between me and Victoria. She turned to leave, looking back with a tear in her eye. After this comment, the comments paused for a few seconds, then were flooded with exclamations of, "Holy crap!" I was speechless. Indeed, Victoria often used these tactics before solidifying our relationship each time. But before seeing these bullet comments, I was in the dark. Now, it was different. I was reborn 7 times in a row just to save my girlfriend Victoria from an untimely death. However, I never succeeded. Every time I was so close yet so far, and had to watch her die before my eyes. In my deepest despair, I suddenly saw comments flashing before me. One comment read, "Victoria is really good. Every time she needs money, she comes to conquer Sincere. Once she's succeeded, she disappears." The manager hesitated briefly, maintaining his tough stance. "That's none of your business. Just know that you're fired. Don't push it, Sincere. Be glad I'm not holding you accountable." I replied, "What's in here?" "Manager," I pointed to the corner. "The cafe has 360-degree surveillance recording my entire work process. May I know which customer complained and when? Where's the complaint record?" Another comment read, "Victoria must be stomping her feet in anger now. I bet if Sincere saw her so angry I couldn't help but laugh. Calling it divine insight might not be too far off, but what I saw were the comments full of immense information, not anything else. Victoria didn't take it well. She started panicking again. "System, what did you give me? Sincere ate it and his affection dropped to 5%. Is this a positive or negative item?" Another comment read, "But the time-space rules changed recently. If the conquest fails, the player has to swap lives with the NPC. Gender remains the same, but the player becomes the NPC, and the NPC enters the real world with all the player's assets. It's really strange. How could there be a bug in such a small data point like the affection level? The plot seems unfamiliar. Could the main storyline have gotten messed up?" Some people wondered if Sincere had a divine insight. Pretending to be considerate, she found a vessel for the potion. It seemed like she had learned something, but at the same time she hadn't. She said it was for my sleep, but now it was for my fatigue. I decided to stop playing along. I took the chicken soup, lightly shaking it, then tossed it into the trash bin beside me. The comments were astonished. "Whoa, I feel like Sincere is looking right at us." "Yeah, I have the same feeling. It's weird." Could Sincere see the comments? Impossible. The comments are in our world, and Sincere is in the small world. Unless his divine insight can cross dimensions. She was at a loss. Insisting I drink it, she said, "There's my love for you in this soup. Don't you love me anymore? I stayed up all night making it. Please, just taste it." The man Victoria was supposed to marry never appeared. Sometimes I even think that those bizarre memories were just a surreal dream. No conquests, no Victoria. She instinctively responded, "Task." Her face turned pale. "Sincere, how do you know? How do you know I'm a conqueror?" I chuckled. "How do I know? You really think the affection drop was a bug? I've been aware for a while." As she lunged at me, I kicked her hard, sending her to the ground. She tried to get up, but in an instant she lost all her strength. The system's voice rang out. "Victoria, stop struggling. Sincere exposed your identity. The conquest has failed. You're out." Until that day in Phuket, I encountered two strange men chatting excitedly, their voices drifting into my ears. One said, "Told you, right? That NPC Victoria is the easiest to conquer. If you want the bonus, just keep targeting her. She looks good and knows how to serve, but her health is terrible." I quietly waited for Victoria to arrive. After 7 lifetimes, this drama, directed by Victoria herself, was finally nearing its end. She was unaware of my changes. Just like before, she handed me a thermos. "Brother, this is chicken soup I made for you. You've been looking tired. Drink it, and you'll feel better." I stayed up all night making it. Victoria rolled her eyes disdainfully. "Didn't you say body functions and family conditions could be exchanged?" "System, we're in this together. Without these items, we'll both fail." Before he could finish, a familiar yet gentle female voice spoke behind me. "Manager, it's unfair to bully an employee like this. I can't stand it." I said, "I don't have divine insight. It's you who saved me." I stared at her in confusion until she shyly avoided my gaze. I snapped out of it. I had been reborn again, back to the day I first met Victoria. At that moment, floating, translucent text was scrolling and refreshing in the void. Another comment asked, "What does love as deep as the sea do?" Another replied, "It's a colorless, tasteless liquid that raises affection to 100%. I hope Sincere doesn't drink it." Another added, "Sincere still has 5% affection. If it drops to 0, the task will fail immediately." Victoria paused, smiling bitterly. "I'm sorry, you might have misunderstood me. I'm not an easy girl. I just wanted to be friends. I've been introverted since I was a child, never talking to boys. This is the first time I've been interested in a boy. The first time I've gathered the courage to ask for WhatsApp." Another comment added, "So you're all assuming Victoria will fail, right?" The system added, "Victoria, you have only 8 days left. Can you do it?" 7th time. Cold sweat broke out on my back. The seed of doubt took root and sprouted in my heart. How did they know these details? Victoria's eyes reddened, and she looked at me shyly. She took a step forward, trying to grab my sleeve, but I coldly pushed her away. "Miss, we don't know each other. Please keep your distance." The comments continued to roll, but no one believed I could see them. But I wanted to sincerely thank these comments. Without them, I would still be Victoria's puppet, reborn repeatedly with false hopes, only to face despair again and again. The comments said, "This is also part of Victoria's routine. She's a professional conqueror, having conquered many men. She knows that the most touching act is a restrained kiss rather than a direct one. This kind of controlled intimacy is the most moving." Holy crap, Sincere's affection level for Victoria is now at 60%, right? Dropping 10 points in a flash. Victoria was so confident about this conquest, only giving herself a month for the task. She thought Sincere was easy, saying a week was enough and a month was more than enough. But now, on the first day, she lost 10 points. Serves her right. I smiled through my tears, cutting her off. "Victoria, the task is going to fail. Do you have anything to say?" "System, there must be a mistake." Sincere looked at me like he was ready to propose. "Now you're telling me his affection dropped? This data must be wrong. Check again." "Sincere can't dislike me." The system snapped. "How should I know? Victoria, can you self-reflect? With your vile heart, not even Sincere likes you. You're the problem. I've been stuck with you as my master. It's my misfortune." I paused. "So that's how it works. As long as I expose Victoria's identity, the task will fail." A strange sense of excitement welled up within me. I looked at the comments, smiling genuinely. The other chuckled. Not only her health, but her family situation is also bad. Conquering her means dealing with her family's troubles. She's always crying and complaining. If not for the low difficulty, I wouldn't bother. Victoria stood up abruptly, distressed, and picked up the thermos, angrily asking, "Sincere, what are you doing? Do you know what's in here?" Victoria seemed to want to know what was happening. After we parted, she immediately called the system to check my affection level. Learning it had dropped 7 points, she broke down. Seeing these comments stand up for me, I felt a bit of warmth. Watching Victoria's vile face, I sneered. Victoria, you're willing to sacrifice anything, as long as it doesn't hurt you. But what if this was your life instead? It was absurd. I couldn't accept it. After all, Victoria and I had fallen in love 7 times. She gave up everything for me, loving me more than herself, even beyond life and death. How could she be a player in a game? I closed my eyes, trying to dispel these ridiculous texts, but to no avail. They kept refreshing, even more than before. The golden vial landed in Victoria's hand. She laughed maniacally, saying, "This time, I will succeed." The golden vial landed in Victoria's hand. She laughed maniacally. "This time, I will succeed." The system, equally puzzled, replied, "According to my data, there is no bug. Maybe your performance is too perfunctory. You should try a different strategy. Remember, you only have a month for this task and you've wasted a week already." Not getting a response from me, Victoria's ears turned red as she shyly repeated, "Can I add you on WhatsApp?" "I don't mean any harm. I just want to be friends." The comments continued, "If that's true, then the plot is getting more interesting. Don't forget, the system imposes random penalties for failed conquests. What will Victoria get this time?" I smiled as I had in the past, thanking her politely. "Thank you, you're the one who looks good when you smile." Victoria's smile deepened. I resisted the discomfort and added her on WhatsApp first. This reaction angered the comments. "Victoria, can you be human? Sincere has awakened. Your conquest is bound to fail. After the conquest, you'll switch lives, and everything you did to Sincere will happen to you. You'll reap what you sow." The comments exploded, cursing Victoria for her ruthlessness. Is Victoria even human? She's already drained Sincere dry. Now she wants to exchange his everything for an item. This is the worst conqueror I've ever seen. Another comment echoed. Victoria has money in this world, but she refuses to spend it. She'd rather use Sincere's life. This is infuriating. Victoria didn't wait for the next day. She hurried to my home, making some small talk before getting to the point. "Brother, you haven't been sleeping well lately. I'm worried. Here, I got some medicine from a reputable doctor. Take it, and you'll sleep well." Unfortunately, I failed each time. The first time, she pushed me out of the water onto the beach but was swept away by a wave. The second time, she shielded me from a knife attack by an enemy, bleeding to death in my arms. The third time, she took care of me in the ruins, using the last remaining resources on me, only to die of dehydration when I woke up. The comments laughed. A higher-level dogfight. This is day 22. Only 8 days left before Victoria fails. As predicted, Victoria looked pitiful, saying, "I'm not an easy girl. This is my first time gathering the courage to ask for someone's contact info." These comments were followed by laughs covering the screen. After a few seconds, the system replied, "Victoria, the data is accurate. Sincere's affection level is now 43%. The same opening lines, the same wedding, only the time became shorter with each cycle. From the initial 3 years, it dwindled to just 6 months by the last time. At one point, I even thought our relationship felt like a game. Victoria was the player, and the same plot was completed faster each time. But then I attributed this to our deep connection. Because we had fallen in love before, falling in love again took less time. Victoria, in a panic, lost her previous confidence. With tears in her eyes, she begged, "System, is there any other item?" "It doesn't matter if it's using Sincere's assets. His life is already being exchanged for my rewards. He won't live long anyway. Use his body functions to get an item." Victoria, panicking, lost her confidence. With tears in her eyes, she begged, "System, is there any other item? We can use Sincere's assets. His life is already being exchanged for my rewards. Use his body functions to get an item." Victoria moved quickly. She began executing her plan B the next day. A new manager arrived at the cafe where I worked. His first order of business was directed at me. "Sincere, there have been complaints about your service. You're fired." The system hesitated, but ultimately agreed. Successfully exchanged for the item 2 hearts as 1 pill. Sincere's family conditions have changed. Parents deceased. Grandparents' wickedness increased by. Living environment changed from kitchen to pigsty. Daily life changed from basic food to starvation. These changes will take effect after the data refresh following the conquest. The system hesitated but ultimately agreed as they were in the same boat. Successfully exchanged for the item Love as Deep as the Sea, the target Sincere will suffer from various ailments, including but not limited to heart failure, anemia, diabetes, migraines, disc herniation, varicose veins, gallstones, kidney stones, and lung nodules. These changes will take effect after the conquest data is refreshed. In the images, she appeared restless, asking the system, "What's going on? Sincere's program is supposed to be fixed. Why is it so difficult to conquer him this time? Is there a bug?" The comments were right. Victoria was a shameless person, treating me like a toy. Why should I show mercy for her false affections? A villa, a luxury car, financial freedom, personal freedom. Everything I struggled for seemed within reach now, only requiring a month and sacrificing a deceitful woman. What a good trade. The comments laughed. A higher-level dogfight. This is day 22, only 8 days left. These costs must be borne by Sincere, the system replied. But Sincere has no money, and only 5 years left to live, which doesn't meet the exchange requirements. The next moment, I saw the comments again. What's going on? Why is Sincere laughing like a madman? This plot is different. Sincere is supposed to be a devoted fool. He would never reject Victoria. Sincere should have done this ages ago. The parallel universe's first conquest didn't affect the NPC, but Victoria's later conquests always took Sincere's luck and life force. That's why his health is bad. His school went from top rank to second tier, his family situation worsened, and he lost years of his life. I clenched my fist tightly, staring at the word conquest repeatedly mentioned. My thoughts were suddenly pulled back to the past. This was my 7th rebirth. Each time I was reborn, I retained my memories and mission. My first love, Victoria, died saving me. I was reborn to avoid that deadly fate and prevent her death, hoping to marry her and grow old together. Swapping lives now, that's interesting. Victoria used her conquest bonuses to buy a villa and luxury car. But Sincere is now a poor student. Wonder how Victoria will handle such a tough life after the swap. She must have thought she had me wrapped around her finger. As she reveled in her perceived success, I felt a mix of disgust and a shift in my plan. Initially, I intended to ignore her and get through the month to swap our lives. But giving hope only to break it seemed more painful. The comments read, "Not again, not this same old routine. How can Sincere fall for it every time? Who says this routine is old? It's perfect. Same opening lines every time, and even though it's the 7th time, Sincere still falls for it. Can't Victoria change her conquest mode? You don't get it. Victoria needs money from her conquests. Of course, the faster she completes her task, the better." Bullet comments were faster than me, cursing, "Sincere, don't trust her, she's poison." I couldn't help but smirk. Victoria's eyes sparkled. "You smiled. You look so good when you smile." Our eyes met, her gaze lingering, but the false affection in her eyes couldn't be hidden. Victoria tiptoed, closing her eyes, hoping for a kiss. But I ignored her. The next moment, I saw the dense comments turn into a large number, 9%. Like a game showing affection levels, it instantly displayed the number without any input from me. We watched a horror movie together, and when the same red-dressed ghost appeared for the 7th time, she snuggled into my arms. I held her tightly, gently patting her back. In the most intimate moments, she leaned in closer, and when I turned to kiss her, she shyly lowered her head. As soon as he finished speaking, the bullet comments started discussing. "Seriously? Does Victoria have anything new? What's the matter? New here, asking." Another comment replied, "First is the green tea tactic. Pretend to be weak and fall to elicit protection. Second is the sweet girl tactic. Act like a gaming buddy to make the target fall for her personality. Third is the dominant CEO rescue tactic, an ultimate move. She's desperate." A chill went through me. and I sat up abruptly, my body trembling uncontrollably. So, this was the real Victoria, the one who was deceitful and heartless. Her tender affections were all a fabricated illusion. She was vile, shameless, and cruel. As she continued to hurl insults at me, my heart kept sinking. The next moment, her face turned pale. "System, why did Sincere's affection for me drop by 10 points?" she asked frantically. With those words, the image of her disappeared, replaced by rapidly refreshing comments. Everything she said matched the comments perfectly. The comments not only knew our interactions but also predicted her every reaction. To this day, I have no choice but to believe that maybe everything the comments said was true. The comments discussed: Sincere looked so moved, but his affection dropped 10 points. Fun fact, Sincere is really kind. He has a affection level for a stray dog. For Victoria to be at 9%, it means he likes her less than a dog. I bet he's awakened. Another added, Sincere still has affection for Victoria. If it drops to 0, the task will fail immediately. Another comment reminded, the 2 hearts as 1 pill must be ingested to take effect. Sincere, if you've really awakened, don't eat it. And if you do, spit it out immediately. These comments quickly faded without drawing much attention. I repeatedly whispered the phrase, life swap, in my mind. I was not happy in this world. My mother was a mistress. I grew up with my grandparents in the countryside as an illegitimate child. No matter how well I did at home or in school, I could never surpass my brother, who was always the favorite. The comments were furious. Victoria, can you be human? Sincere has awakened. You'll switch lives and everything will happen to you. You'll reap what you sow. One comment asked, what does love as deep as the sea do? Another replied, it's a colorless, tasteless liquid that raises affection to. I hope Sincere doesn't drink it. Back in my dorm, I lay down exhausted, recalling my 7 encounters with Victoria. Memories flashed like a slideshow in my mind. I realized that everything had signs: meeting, confessing, kissing, proposing, accidents. These were the 5 time points Victoria and I experienced over 6 cycles. The comments exploded in shock. Holy crap, Sincere really spat it out. He must be awakened. Another comment added, Sincere's affection level dropped to 5%. Victoria will lose it when she checks. The scene concluded with the manager apologizing to me and begging Victoria to spare his job. A typical dramatic reversal. Once the manager left, Victoria turned to me, saying seriously, as long as I'm here, no one can treat you that way. For 18 years I lived cautiously, surviving in the cracks until I met Victoria. She understood everything I cared about, becoming my confidant, fully healing the wounds of my childhood. I once thought she was my salvation, but reality dealt me a fatal blow. On the 21st day, Victoria couldn't afford to wait any longer. Since her tactics couldn't make me confess to her, she decided to take the initiative. She had no time left. The first 20 days had been wasted in a tug-of-war, and she had to complete the remaining 4 stages in the next 10 days, raising my affection to 100%. Strangely, after reading that comment, I indeed saw an image of Victoria. She was in an empty room, muttering to herself. It's disgusting. Does he think I don't know what kind of person he is? A common, lowly man who follows me around like a dog, pretending to be something he's not. If it weren't for the conquest, I wouldn't even look at him. System, apply for triple rewards for this conquest. I know it deducts his luck and life force, but who cares? These NPCs are countless. One less doesn't matter. It's his honor to be my conquest target. Seeing her about to start manipulating me, I replied, of course not, sweetheart. I'm touched by your care. I took the golden pill from her hand and pretended to swallow it. Victoria sighed in relief. Brother, I'm so glad you trust me. I nodded. As she turned away, I quickly spat out the pill hidden under my tongue. The system lost it too. How should I know? Victoria, can you not blame others and reflect on yourself? With your vile heart, no one would like you. You're the problem. At that moment, I suddenly felt that these comments were not a burden, but a divine gift. In the following days, Victoria frequently appeared before me, but I remained cold as usual. Her tactics failing and my unusual behavior made her increasingly anxious. I often saw her daily life through the comments. The fourth, fifth, and sixth times were different accidents but with the same tragic result. I felt helpless in pain and even cursed fate for keeping us apart. But now these lines of text were telling me that my supposed steadfast love, my heartbreaking trials and separations with Victoria, were just a conquest game. Victoria was the player, and I was just an NPC to be conquered. So, even if rebirths required sacrificing my lifespan and our time together kept shortening, as long as there was a glimmer of hope to keep her alive, I was willing to give it all. Until the sixth time, when Victoria died saving me, I suddenly saw the comments, and the truth was revealed. I laughed, even though my heart was breaking, a laugh so loud and sharp that my throat started to dry heave. Thanks to you, I would have been in trouble today. Let me treat you to a meal sometime. I glanced at the bullet comments. What? Sincere accepted Victoria? And his affection dropped again to 43%? Victoria broke down further, frantically repeating her demands for a recheck. Finally, she concluded, "This must be a bug. I'm the person who knows Sincere best. A simple gesture, and he comes running. This data must be wrong." I watched it all coldly, deciding to give Victoria more false hope. A few seconds later, she pointed to the WhatsApp message and sneered. "See? Sincere's message. He said, 'Victoria, thank you so much. I used to think beautiful girls were arrogant and had hidden motives. But you're so kind.'" The system hesitated but ultimately agreed. Successfully exchanged for the item "Love as Deep as the Sea," Sincere will suffer from various ailments: heart failure, anemia, diabetes, migraines, disc herniation, varicose veins, gallstones, kidney stones, and lung nodules. These changes will take effect after the data refresh following the conquest. She oscillated between despair and doubt, from one extreme to the other, eventually questioning why. He hugged me, kissed me. How can he hate me more now? What's wrong with the system? She stared at me, incredibly shocked by my words. The next moment she lost all pretense of affection, screaming, "Since you know there's nothing more to say, drink the soup, Sincere. It's your honor to be my target." Victoria's confidence and certainty made the system start to doubt itself. A bug? That can't be. This is simple data. How could there be a bug? Victoria remained very confident, believing that her charm was invincible and that I had already fallen deeply in love with her. But after each date, when the system reported my affection level, she broke down again and again. The comments were also puzzled, saying, "I really don't get it. Sincere seemed normal during the date. How can his affection drop each time? This is the first time I've seen such a steady decline. Could it be that Sincere has awakened and is playing along?" I was stunned. "Victoria, I wish you well." Finally, new discussions emerged. One person commented, "Everyone remembers Victoria's first NPC conquest, right? That guy wasn't as easy to fool as Sincere. She had to use every trick in the book to succeed. So when she found Sincere, who was easy to conquer, she kept targeting him, like fighting a boss over and over. This is her 7th time, right? That's ridiculous. Sincere is always polite. How could his attitude be bad? It's just an excuse to cause trouble. Honestly, just looking at Victoria's face, it's hard not to be moved. During our first meeting, I was infatuated with her. Every glance after that made my heart race. But now, looking at her, I no longer felt the youthful emotions of the past. She was pretending to be pitiful, just as the comments predicted. The system added, "Victoria, only 8 days left. Can you do it?" I looked into her eyes, smiling silently. She seemed nervous but didn't give up. "Brother, why are you looking at me like that? Don't you trust me? I care about you so much that I went everywhere looking for a cure. Don't hurt my feelings." The world around me faded, and everything went silent. When I opened my eyes again, 18-year-old Victoria was smiling at me. She asked, "Hey there, can I add you on WhatsApp?" She vented her frustration with more insults, then said, "Fine, I'll start Plan B tomorrow. I refuse to believe I can't handle a poor guy like him." The bullet comments were more clear-headed, noting, "This doesn't seem right. Sincere is usually cautious. This isn't his style." And the WhatsApp message came at the perfect time, dispelling Victoria's doubts. In front of countless witnesses, Victoria, dressed in a wedding gown and holding a bouquet of roses, nervously confessed to me. Her performance was very compelling, looking genuinely anxious. Amidst the cheers, I pinched my eyebrow, using the onion juice to stimulate tears, and accepted her confession, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't help but laugh. Seeing Victoria self-destruct was satisfying. Unfortunately, she wasn't happy. She broke down again, yelling at the system. "What the hell did you give me?" Sincere ate it, but his affection dropped. "What did you give me? A positive or negative item?" In the following days, I frequently asked Victoria out for meals, walks, movies, watching the sunrise at the beach at dawn, and stargazing on the mountains at night, just like in the previous 6 lifetimes. I always looked at Victoria with eyes full of love, smiling warmly whenever she looked at me. The comments read, "Why isn't Sincere falling for it this time? Victoria must be getting anxious. I guess even an ironclad NPC like Sincere has his bug moments. Let's guess what Victoria will do next, since he isn't giving his contact info." No need to guess. Victoria will surely play the pitiful card. I frowned. The star of this drama, Victoria, had finally appeared. She had a heated argument with the manager, claiming she couldn't tolerate his treatment of an employee. She called her uncle, who happened to be the chairman of the cafe chain's parent company. 5 years have passed since Victoria and I swapped lives. The day she left is now a blur in my memory. Her hysterical screams, the system's cold announcements and faint laughter are all faded memories. This world is wonderful. Our lives swapped completely. No one remembers or knows Victoria. Her entire existence now belongs to me,